Yes, so let's start with the introductions first. This is Kanupriya joining from America, New York, and there is this retreat center of the Brahma Kumaris called Peace Village Learning and Retreat Center. A very beautiful place up in the mountains here. Um, it's peak winter time here, so lovely day, lovely morning. All right, so let's go to our topic of the day. The topic of the day is putting a full stop on the past. Now, this is a very interesting topic because personally, also, there, we all, it's pretty common language to say that we want to let go, meaning let go of the past. But when I was reflecting on this topic, um, the thought came was that what do we actually want to let go? Is it that old memory, or is it that old incident? um, what I found when I was reflecting on this is that we actually want to let go of the pain or the feelings or the some kind of hurt or resentment that we may have experienced because of that incident that happened in the past, right? So, if we were to look at the definition of putting a full stop on the past, what we are really trying to understand is that, you know, we all know that what has happened in the past cannot be changed, right? It has happened and it will remain as it is. So, the first step to actually, um, putting a full stop or begin the process of putting a full stop to the past is to stop fighting that situation or questioning that situation. That is something that is old, right? So we begin with acceptance. And by putting a full stop, meaning we really want to put an end to the feelings related to that memory, whatever that memory or incident may be, right? Is that your experience too? Yes. Let us see currently when we are dealing with the situation, what is it that we are doing to let go of the pain from the past. And in my mind, there are broadly two methods or two areas that we are working on, right? So the first method is that usually, we tend to share our story of pain with our near and dear ones, with our well-wishers, with our friends and family, and sometimes we end up sharing this pain or the story with even strangers, right? So that is one method that we are doing, sharing with others. And the second method that we are generally using currently is um, that we decide not to share with others. And then we try to keep quiet and as if keep the pain inside of ourselves, hoping that we with reflection and introspection we can just resolve it within ourselves. And for this, we are currently adopting various methods. So something like, very common method is to write it down on a piece of paper and then burn it in fire. Or we may even decide to actually just keep it in our minds and try to see various aspects of the situation that caused us pain, or look at the person who caused us pain, who we think caused us pain, right? And with the hope that we can come up with a adequately justifiable or a convincingly acceptable reason for the self to come to come to terms with the pain. And what happens with this usually, again, for the self speaking here, is that we end up blaming someone else for that pain. We end up blaming a situation for the pain. Or we sometimes even blame ourselves, right? And if we can't find anyone to blame, then then we end up blaming God, blame our destiny. Yeah, that life is unfair. These are the statements we make. We feel like a victim and helpless. So, of course, these methods do have benefits. There's no doubt about that. But in my own experience, these benefits are pretty short lived or temporary in nature. And it seems as if, the pain actually resurfaces. And there is some kind of scratch that happens, some trigger from outside. It may be somebody telling us something which brings us back to that memory, and the pain is triggered, or some kind of situation that we are in, and then again we remember that old time and the feelings are just re-emerged, right? And then when that happens, when the memories are or the feelings related to that memory of pain is re-emerged, then we are again left running helter and skelter looking for a remedy. Sounds familiar? Yes. Yes. So of course, these methods we have been trying. So let us now experiment with a new method. And before that, let us understand why these methods, again, for the self, I'm saying that why I was thinking why these methods didn't have a long lasting effect for me. And uh, any thoughts anyone wants to share on in the comment box, please do share. It's always good to know your thoughts. um, so if we try to look at it a bit deeper, although our aim was to forget about that pain, but what are we ending up doing? In both the methods, let us see whether it is relating it to others, whether the relating the story of our pain or that incident to others, with others, our friends, family, or whether it is keeping it to ourselves and writing it down, um, and trying to come up with some kind of justifiable argument within ourselves. What we are really doing is we are ending up reminding ourselves of the pain and the hurt and the resentment that we went through in the past 1 year, 2 years, maybe 20 years, or even just yesterday or today morning, right? And sometimes an incident that may have happened, say, 20 years back, decades back, it feels as if it has happened just today. And that pain with that same intensity, or maybe even more sometimes, re-emerges within us. So the moment we start to speak about the past situation or write it down or think it in our heads, we are as if reinforcing the past memory and making it important. We are giving it importance the moment we are doing this reiteration. And what we end up doing is we are making that memory stronger. And once the memory becomes stronger by repeating it, whether repeating it within ourselves or repeating to others, that that memory becomes stronger and the pain actually becomes even more intense. So on the outside, we pretend that everything is going just fine, but inside, as if we keep burning, and the flame of that pain is still alive. Hmm. So amusing, actually, because our intention was right. Our intention was to forget and let go, forgive, right? And to end that misery. That was our intention. But what are we ending up doing? We are actually ending up refreshing that memory, reliving that memory, and reliving that pain. So, what do we do now? If this is what that our intention wasn't, and we are not able to meet the intention with this these two methods which we are generally adopting, what do we actually do? Any thoughts? So, spiritual wisdom tells us to put a full stop is the method. Hmm? And to put a full stop, meaning put a full stop to the thoughts from the past. Hmm? So, if it is so easy, yeah, what is the way to do it now, right? So, let us see what is the way. Full stop means the end, right? It's not a comma that we want to put. We want to put absolute full stop to those thoughts. Well, we can do this when first tip that I gave you in the beginning was to accept the situation. Yeah, because you can't change it. It has happened, so just accept the situation. And the second is to make the importance of the past small. Make the importance of the incident that happened or the situation that happened small. Give it less importance or give it no importance. And there is a method in Raj Yoga meditation to do exactly that. So, in our meditation, we would first start with accepting the situation, and then we will see how we can make the whole incident or that situation less important. Hmm? Okay, so time for meditation. Let us sit back and keep the body in a comfortable position. Breathe in and as you breathe out, just relax the whole body. And we take this moment to connect with the experiencer, the inner being of light, the experiencer who's experiencing the feelings, the one who's experiencing the surroundings, this experiencer is the one who's subtle, and invisible, residing behind the eyes. Using the eyes to experience the joy of seeing, using the ears to listen, using the mouth to speak. This experiencer, the subtle inner being who's invisible, is the one operating the body. The experiencer accepts everything around him as it is. There may be bright lights around, noise around in the room that you are in, or even somebody moving. This experiencer chooses to accept everything just as it is. He accepts what happened yesterday, 1 year back, 20 years back, everything that happened. He knows it cannot be changed. No questions, no fighting. Just accept everything as it is. And now our mind is free to shift the focus, to shift our awareness to our spiritual reality. Come into the spiritual perspective, the higher perspective. And in this perspective, the experiencer sees the whole physical existence of this character, Kanupriya in my case, as a part of a story comic book. The storybook is tiny. The storybook has many chapters, One chapter ends and the next chapter begins. Each chapter has a beginning and an end. The book has a beginning and an end too. And the experiencer who's viewing his life in this physical dimension as the story book that is tiny knows that his existence in this world also has a beginning and an end. He views the chapters of his life as transient, changing. Some chapters are happy, some chapters are not so happy. But he knows of his exit from this physical world. The book, the story in the book has an end. The experiencer is very comfortable knowing this reality. And with this perspective, he is able to see how unimportant each chapter is. He knows that each chapter is meant as entertainment to complete the story. That chapter is perfect, perfectly placed in the book of life, because this experiencer knows of his eternal reality. The reality that he is immortal, that he belongs to a world beyond the physical dimension, a world that is subtle, a world of light that is his permanent residence, a world that he calls home. And the experiencer experiences immense deal of security from his eternal and immortal existence in this subtle world. The experiencer is mesmerized by the beauty of the true home. This dimension called the home is so big that from this higher space he very easily is able to see the storybook as very small, irrelevant, unimportant, temporary. And so, as we go through our day, we remind ourselves to connect with this reality. We remind ourselves that we have this option to make things in the physical world small, unimportant. Thank you and wish you a very good day or evening. If you want to share any comments or ask any questions, more than happy and welcome to read them and answer any questions that you may have. Just type it in the comment box, and while we do that, we just remind ourselves to experiment with this method, right? And what we started with in the meditation is to really accept our situation, especially related to the past. And every moment is becoming past, right? As I'm speaking now, actually, this moment is past the next second. So, try not to carry those burdens, to make the mind free from the situation. Once the mind is free, not stuck in the same situation, and the thoughts are not going there again and again and again, then is the time, once the freedom from those thoughts is felt, then is the time that one can actually connect with something else, right? And we have our beautiful eternal reality to connect with whenever we want, right? And so have yes, I'm reading some comments around recording. Yes, this is being recorded on the Global Corporation House Brahma Kumari's Facebook page as well as Instagram. Right, so after the live session is over, you'll be able to access these recordings on our Facebook page and also our Instagram page. Thank you for joining and have a lovely day ahead.